State of Israel, a country that has been at war almost non-stop for over 200 years. A small country surrounded by massive enemies, and it used to be so poor that inflation once soared over 350%. How did they get rich? Is it because it's the promised land, or is there another reason? You can support our ongoing research into the unique aspects of Israel's economy by scanning this QR code right now. But if you can't scan it, that's perfectly okay. Just watch until the very end and enjoy as we take Money Motor all the way to Israel. It's a relatively tiny country located in the Middle East, situated right on the Mediterranean Sea, with a total population of less than 10 million, actually just about 9.4 million people in total. But it's a fascinating country that is incredibly wealthy. Honestly, the economy of this country is really unusual. Just imagine a tiny country surrounded by neighbors who all hate it. All the Arab nations around Israel have been fighting with it for over 200 years without stopping. Yet somehow, Israel has managed to achieve a GDP as high as $488 billion, making it the 29th richest country in the world. Their relationship with their neighbors isn't complicated or hidden at all. They just openly hate each other. It's to the point where rockets are regularly fired across the sky, landing right in the middle of the city. So, of course, Israel can't rely on cross-border trade with its neighbors for its economy. And not only can't they trade with their neighbors, but they also have to allocate most of their budget to defense. On national defense. And this year, 2024, tensions are running especially high, so Israel has to allocate as much as $118 billion to its defense budget. That's a huge amount spent on the military. So why is Israel wealthy? Is it because they have a lot of natural resources? Not at all. The country is tiny and doesn't really have many resources. In fact, it's actually lacking in resources. Agriculture, for example, is tough. It's hard to grow much of anything in Israel. And on top of that, the population is really small. So it's not enough to create an economy of scale where they can rely on domestic consumption and produce goods cheaply. It just doesn't work. In fact, by 2029, Israel will have to import electricity worth up to 5% of the country's GDP. But despite all these obstacles, can you believe that Israel is actually a country with a high GDP per capita, or income per person? It's a lot. Israel's GDP per capita is $53,000 per person, which is about 1,800,000 baht per person per year. That number is higher than the UK, higher than France, and even higher than the UAE. Most importantly, it's higher than every Arab country surrounding Israel. And another important point that really made me want to dig deeper and get to know Israel's economy better isn't just because their economy is unusual, but also because they weren't always rich. Less than 4 decades ago, less than 40 years ago, Israel used to be a poor country. The Israeli shekel was practically worthless because inflation was as high as 350%. The political situation was unstable, and the economy had no credibility. That's why this is so interesting, because in the midst of all the external conflicts, Israel was still able to overcome its own internal struggles and rise from poverty to become one of the world's wealthiest countries. That sounds pretty inspiring for a country that's been stuck in developing country mode for decades, right? Who could that be? Let's go back to 1980. Would you believe that the shekel, Israel's currency, was almost worthless because inflation was as high as 350%? The money you had today, its value would drop by a quarter, just like that. It didn't work for the people in the country, so they mainly spent and shopped using dollars. When people in the country primarily use foreign currency, it means the government has almost no power to control anything. At that time, the Israeli government had a choice: to collect taxes in shekels or to collect taxes in dollars. Each option had its pros and cons. If they collected taxes in dollars, it would mean the government was basically admitting that the shekel was truly worthless. But if the government collected taxes in shekels, which was a currency with 350% inflation, the government would have to accept that by next year, the value of the money, meaning the taxes collected, would only be worth 3/4 of what they were. Partly, the government did collect taxes in shekels, so after a year passed, the government would have to print more money to make up for the value that had already disappeared. The more shekels they printed, the more inflation there was, right? The more they printed, the worse the inflation got. It became an inflation loop. People were trapped in worsening poverty. And when this hellish inflation loop happened, the problem landed on the Bank of Israel. The central bank's main job is to lower interest rates to fight inflation. But the central bank couldn't do that at all because it couldn't operate independently from the government anymore. And with the currency in this state, it didn't just lose economic confidence within the country. Of course not. It also lost confidence with the international economy. It also lost confidence from outside the country. Who would dare invest their money in Israel when the money you put in today could be wiped out in just 4 years? This deal just doesn't work. Thai, Western, or Chinese investors all say this deal isn't okay. Can you picture it? Israel's economy at that time was seriously ill. But how did they manage to turn things around? Let's keep going. In 1985, the Israeli government rebranded the country's currency, naming it the new shekel, and rolled out a bold economic stimulus and reform plan, a real economic surgery. First, they took a scalpel to the budget by drastically cutting back on government spending. They stopped spending on welfare, large government projects, and essential public services that used to consume a significant portion of the national budget. These spending channels, besides being ways to stimulate economic growth, were also a major route for shekels to flood into the system, which directly contributed to the rise of inflation. So the government said, they made a tough call here, choosing to endure some pain for a final solution by cutting these budgets, which drastically reduced the flow of shekels into the system. Eventually, shekels became scarce, and as they got harder to find, demand for them increased. Inflation was over. But it wasn't completely over just yet, because they didn't just implement one policy and call it a day. The second decisive move was to separate the central bank from the government, allowing it to operate independently. The central bank could then roll out various monetary policies, whether it was cutting taxes or reducing the money supply, to stabilize the new currency, the new shekel. Allowing the central bank to operate independently from the government is actually a widely accepted and standard policy among many of the world's most developed nations. The third decisive move was to allow for the shekel's value to depreciate in the foreign exchange market, and then set the new value of the shekel at this significantly reduced exchange rate. If you understand how financial mechanisms work, you'll probably get this point. If you let the currency weaken like this, won't that cause inflation? Because when the currency weakens, we can sell more products, right? Since our goods become cheaper. But Israel is mostly an importing country. So if the currency weakens, that means they'll have to buy goods from abroad at higher prices. In this kind of situation, if you have to buy goods from abroad at higher prices, that's basically importing inflation, right? But the point is, the Israeli government realized that eliminating inflation in the long run isn't something you can just snap your fingers and make disappear overnight. It just doesn't work like that. At this point, the Israeli government had to let the currency weaken. In order to successfully eliminate long-term inflation like this, if they let the new shekel weaken, individuals and businesses in the country who are holding dollars will have a favorable opportunity to exchange their dollars for new shekels at a reasonable rate, not too expensive. This, in turn, will increase the demand for holding new shekels, and also significantly strengthen the overall desire to use new shekels more. That's right, this policy means that the new shekel will still experience inflation for another 5 years. But after that, once the public has exchanged enough dollars back into new shekels, Israel will be able to successfully solve the long-term inflation problem. Another reason for Israel's wealth, as I would define it, is that being talented alone isn't enough. You also need to be lucky. The first stroke of luck that really changed things for Israel was the discovery of natural gas off the Mediterranean coast. This discovery significantly reduced the amount of energy Israel needed to import from abroad. It became enough for Israel's own use, and there was even enough to export. The next stroke of luck is tourism. As I mentioned, Israel is known as the Promised Land, so it has many important religious sites. Tourism allows Israel to welcome about 4 million tourists each year, generating income that accounts for 2% of Israel's GDP. And the final stroke of luck, which is more precious than anything else, is the people of Israel are exceptionally intelligent and resourceful. The Israeli people, whom many know as Jews, are frequently characterized throughout the ages as a nation that has been cursed. But the brilliance of this nation is clearly demonstrated to the entire world throughout human history. In addition, the Israeli government is one that strongly supports research and development, consistently investing very heavily in R&D. You could say it's the highest in the world. This allows the Israeli population to hold high-tech jobs in numbers that no one else can match. The brilliance of the Jewish people, which has shaken the world, can be seen in figures like Albert Einstein, who came up with the theory E equals mc squared. This formula was later used by Western countries to successfully create nuclear bombs. And it wasn't just used for making nuclear bombs. Einstein's knowledge also led to the development of other technologies from various sources, making our lives more convenient today. There's also a conspiracy theory that claims the world's financial and governmental systems were created and established by 13 Jewish families who are said to be behind the White House. This is also cited as one of the reasons why the United States has always fully supported Israel. So if Jewish people are the origin of the world's financial system, then it probably wouldn't be too difficult for them to be one of the richest countries in the world.